What's up everyone, Lord MC here, back with another video. I wanted to give you guys an update on where I see the markets going with what I think will be a very volatile week, especially for this Thursday when CPI is released just right before the bell. But before I get into it, I want to preface by saying I am not a financial advisor. None of the things I say in my videos or anywhere else is ever financial advice. So question everything, do your own research, and come out with your own conclusions. So having said that, let's jump right into the SPY here. SPY on the 1 day did have a very interesting day. It went as high as 380.57. where the low was 375.53 before finishing on a strong close at 379.95. So what can we expect moving forward for the SPY? So for the most bullish case scenario, we definitely want to see SPY going above 381.74. It did hit resistance here at the 50 EMA, which is 380.55, and closed just below that 50 EMA line. So I'm going to bring up my drawings here. I know there's going to be a lot of things going on, but bear with me. So for the most bullish case scenario, if you're going long, you definitely want to go above 381.74. You enter 381.74, you're going to start going and trading in this range that I have between 381.74 and 383.90, which has been trading before here, as you can see, just below, just where this target 2 line is. There is a trading range that it's been trading for before in the past. So for the most bullish case, you want SPY to be above 383 for an attempt to go and test the most key critical level, I think, in my opinion, 390.19, which is where the bears have stepped up and brought down the SPY. So if you want SPY to go above that 390 level, you definitely want to break 383 in my opinion. But for the most bearish case scenario, you definitely want to come down to test 374.67, so we can get inside this trading range between 374.67 and 371.67. Like the trading range above, it's been trading inside that range before, and if you could possibly lose 371.67, you could possibly test this top of this trend line of the descending broadening wedge here, and then possibly trade in this range before testing 360s and then creating lower lows. That's for the most bearish case scenario, but we have to look at this one step at a time. One thing I do want to mention here, if I bring out my drawings, SPY is now creating lower highs and lower lows. So if this was to play out, this hit the top of this channel here, and you're going to expect to come down to create lower highs. So if you want to see that play out, you definitely want to see SPY come down to test 376, which is where the 21 EMA is. Losing the 21 EMA is, you can go back to 374.67 and then trading in that range of 371.67. It looks, in my opinion, that it's going to play out in this channel, creating lower lows and lower highs, but the market doesn't care what I think. One thing I will note is the volume that came in today was on low volume compared to the prior days. So if you're a bull, you definitely want the volume to start picking up to the buy side. Otherwise, this is going to continue pushing down. So that's all I have for the SPY. I'm jumping over here to the triple Qs. The triple Qs here on the 1 day does have a butterfly pattern here that was generated, and it failed to do a type 1 reaction up to target 1, where now it is trying to attempt to test the 9 EMA here at 269.50. It did go as high as 268.14 today, and it closed finally at 267.59. So it just closed just above the XA here. So like the SPY, you're also on lower volume. So if this fails 265.05, you're possibly looking to test hop at 256.86. And then you could possibly enter here at this this channel here that I did break out of. So the top of this trend line would actually be 253. So in my opinion, if you lose the key critical level here on the triple Qs is 260.14, you would test 256.86, and then possibly down the line you could test 253 and getting in this range. So we will see if that is going to happen. Otherwise, if you want the Nasdaq to be if you want to go along on the Nasdaq, in my opinion, you need to break the 9 EMA here at 269.50 and then 272.86 before going above here where I have this trending line here at 276.85, which I believe is a key critical level that if the Nasdaq can get up over there, we can start possibly attempting to hit target 1 at 289. But you will have resistance here at the 50 EMA and the SMA here at 280. Like the SPY, it was also trading in this new channel here, creating lower highs and lower lows. So you definitely want to keep an eye out on that. You'll see if this is to play out because it is on low volume. So if it is creating that, we are going to come back lower. And we will see if that is to play out right before CPI, or if CPI is going to actually be the catalyst to create new lower lows. If that is the case, we may have newer low lows than back in October the 13th. But we will see what that has in store for us. So jumping over to the Dow Jones. Oh, the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is a little bit complicated because like the other indices, this is the first one that hit out of the three that hit the descending broadening wedge on the top of this trend line here. And it did have a strong push today where it went as high as 328.95, the low being 324.15 before finishing the day at 328.42. So it looks like it is creating a double top here. It did close above my descending broadening wedge, but in order for to continue pushing, there's definitely volume picking up here on the daily. So if you're going long, you definitely want to see where the next level of resistance here in harmonically. The next level of resistance would be this target here at 330.43. If it cleanly breaks above that, you can start testing the 200 SMA here on the 2-day, which is 337.90, and then possibly going up to target 2 at 345.35 of this bullish ABCD pattern. If you do fail that, you're going to come back down, test 322.62. So you definitely want to lose the 200 SMA if you're going short on the Dow Jones. That the Dow Jones here in the 200 SMA on the 1 day is at 326. So you want to come back below 326 and then 322 before you're going to have some chop here to get back down to 309.97. So we definitely want to see, because the Dow Jones out of the three indices is the one that looks a little bit stronger, and it is approaching here on the daily overbought territory. So we will keep an eye out on that, just like before. Back here, when it touched the descending broadening wedge, it created a double top before finally pushing down. So it looks like it may attempt to do that here, create a double top on the RSI. Right, we have the first top here, and then we'll have to find out if the RSI here will create another double top, second top right above the RSI before continuing to push down. In my opinion, if it does that, you're going to see possibly 330 on the Dow Jones before coming back down. So for the bearish case, you do want to see volume stepping up to the sell side. So you want to lose 326 on off the 200 SMA, test target 2 at 322 for consideration to look at lower levels at 309. So we will keep an eye on that. Jumping over to Apple. So Apple had bearish news with laying off workers and only hiring for research and development. It did finish the day at 138.92 before going as low as 135.67. So if we're going long on Apple, you definitely want to be above 138.60, which is the XA of this bullish bat pattern at the 886. Breaking that, you can attempt to push to the 90 EMA here at 143.79 and possibly fill this gap here all the way up to 144. In my opinion, 140 is a very important key critical level on Apple, and then 142. If we can break 142 and somehow get above 148, which is where you'll find also where the 50 EMA is at, and you cleanly break at 148.05, you can start looking at target 1 at 150.33 before getting resistance at 153.10 and then 156 down the line. But in my opinion, if you look at the volume here, volume to the downside was on increasing volume, so that is harmonic selling. you got the volume today also low on this push up that Apple had. So you want, if you're going short, you definitely want to lose 138.60 and then coming back below 137.69. If you can get below 137.69, you can start trading in this trading range here between 137 and 134. 134, in my opinion, losing that would be devastating for Apple, because you can start looking at 127.80, which is where hop is. As you can tell here, why 134.37 is key is because where it's where X was formed here, as well as where D was formed. And if it loses that, in my opinion, you can start testing where hop is. So we will keep an eye out on Apple, because Apple does move the market. Jumping over to here on Microsoft. Microsoft has a ABCD pattern on the daily, and Microsoft finished the day at 2.93%, went as high as 228 before closing the day at 227.87. So if we're going long on Microsoft, I do have a line here at 230.65 that you definitely want to break above, which is where exactly the 21 EMA is. If you can break up above that, you could possibly start trading in this range here between 230 and 242. 242.50 is a key critical level for Microsoft. If you want to go long, you want to be bullish on Microsoft, you need to break that with volume. You can cleanly break that with volume. You will test 256.12 and then possibly down the line 278.96. It did finish the day above the 90 EMA before it did retest the 13 EMA, but it did fail. So if you are short, you definitely want to come down below the 90 EMA at 280, 227, then come back to 219. So we will keep an eye on that. Microsoft does look like it found its bottom with the push here. Looks solid here, increasing volume to the buy side. So definitely keep an eye on Microsoft. Jumping over to Tesla. Tesla did have a very bad day, negative 5.01%. I did print a lot of on the put play here. Made 90% on these weeklies. So what can we expect here for Tesla? Tesla on the, I believe it's a 2-day, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the week. So Tesla here on the weekly does have a bullish bat pattern where it did hit target 1 here, did a type 1. It looks like it's doing a type 2 reaction. I think Tesla out of the major blue chip stocks has yet to touch, besides Apple, touch the 200 weekly, and it just looks like it wants to go down there. The 200 EMA on the weekly is around 188.67, so that would be the next level of support should Tesla go down there. If you lose this level here, the 200 weekly, you can potentially start looking at Tesla going for 150, maybe testing the 200 SMA at 159, 160, and then going to hop at 149.59. So we will definitely keep an eye out on that. I do think Tesla is yet to capitulate, so there's a lot of downside to Tesla if it loses 150. If you want to go long on Tesla, you definitely want to break up above, test the 90 EMA here at 213, and then get above 223, which is where the 21 EMA is, and start trading in that range that it's been in before, between 223 and 236. So we will keep an eye out on that, because yeah, you definitely want to be, it has a bullish bat pattern on the 2-day, 215.95. You definitely want to break above so you can start trading in that range, and then potentially start looking at testing 240s. But we are a long ways from that. Tesla does not look good in my opinion, and I do think we see more pain down the line. So having said that, jumping over to the VIX, which I think should be very important to watch coming into this week. I know it's kind of hard to chart, but VIX here on the 1-day just generated a bad pattern here, where the next target would be 2404. It did finish the day at 2434. So if this continues down, there is a gap down here between $21, 21.62 and 21.32. I do think CPI will possibly get us there if it is on bullish news. Otherwise, you can start seeing the VIX spike up. If I clear this drawing here real quick and remove on the 1 day here, you can start seeing that that the VIX is creating an inverse head and shoulder. So you got the left shoulder here, the head here, and the right shoulder here. So if the market is bearish, and if you see CPI data is bearish, you can start seeing the VIX spike up real quick into possibly testing the 30s again. So we will definitely keep an eye out on that. It should be a very volatile week in my opinion, but yeah, we will have to wait for what CPI says and what the Fed says as well. So that is all I have for you guys. I will be streaming tomorrow, same time as always. If you want the link to my Twitch is down in the description box below. If you like this type of content, please consider giving me a like. Subscribing to the channel does help me out. But that is all I have for you guys. So you guys have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.